Hello and welcome to episode 28 of Rival Banter. I'm one of your hosts, Luke Croft. Joining me, as always, my esteemed co-host and WB Cooper himself. That's not his name. I fucked it up. It's DB Cooper.
I was like, who is? I don't know who DB Cooper is either, but if that
Oh,
helps.
anyway, DB Cooper himself, ladies and gentlemen, Seth Martin. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah,
you don't
that's
know who
me.
DB Cooper is?
I know the name. I don't know who it is. I gotta confess.
So I forget the whole story because it's been a while since I've listened to it, but it's one of the great unsolved mysteries of the modern times because it's this man who hijacked an airplane and I can't remember if he actually asked for a ransom or not, but mid hijacking he jumped out of the back of the airplane with a parachute.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That
Yeah.
was a. They actually, speaking of Marvel, they kind of played with that on Loki or something like that. On like I think it was the show.
Oh,
Maybe it was one of the movies, but I think it was Loki. Yeah.
so it's lore accurate. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It's relevant.
Unfortunately, I fucked it up and said WB Cooper at first, but it's DB Cooper.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, how'd you get away with it?
Well, you can't tell your shit to the world. You gotta let it ride.
That's true. If you talked about how to successfully do that, it would greatly increase the dangers of other people repeating it. That
Mhm.
is such a wild story. I are you a true crime fan at all, Seth?
Nah, I've gone through phases where I kinda wanna be, but, I've come to realize it's just not me. It's interesting to me. I feel like it gets me too freaked out too. I'm too, like, in the mindset of everything.
Mm.
It's a place I don't wanna go. I know you are.
Yeah, I love some true crime stuff, and I go through phases as well because yeah. But I'm in one of those phases right now. One of my favorite activity at the moment is just getting high, throwing on some 2 hour interrogation of a criminal, and playing Lawnmower Simulator on my
And just
PlayStation.
and just figuring it all out, right?
you
Just
know,
solving
yeah, just
cracking the
solving
case.
just solving them. But
Cracking
there's this interesting like period in history where like technology evolved so quickly to where people could just do incredibly weird and heinous things, but the technology to like track people using that technology didn't exist yet. And so like I love true crime kind of between like the 40s and like the 80s, because there's this additional mystery to it, right? Because it's like people probably weren't any better at crime back then than they are today. It's just there's so many more ways to get caught now than there were back then. And the DB Cooper thing, I think, is just a great case. Like, I don't know if there's any real way you could get away with doing what he did, given all of the technology and shit that exists now.
And that's probably a big part of why we have a lot of the technology is because of guys like DB Cooper, whatever the
Yeah.
letters of his name are. Um, yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild. I think, would you consider, like, did you ever read In Cold Blood by Truman Capote?
Mm-mm.
I feel like that's one of the first, like, maybe not the first, but like kind of like of the genre of true crime, kind of as we know it. It's like the kind of like recounting the ins and out of this case, this real case that happened. And it's like reading it today, it's not like the most grisly thing ever, but I remember being kind of underwhelmed when I first read it. But it's just kind of like shocking, and I think it was at least shocking to people back then to see how some people kind of function and operate and kind of like just live in a different world than we do. So yeah, that stuff's thing to me. It's just not really a place I want to spend my time personally.
Yeah, and I think sometimes I get so deep into it that it starts to kind of affect my psyche and my outlook on people, right? Because you start to kind of view everybody as like a potential monster. Because
You're looking for the signs, yeah.
yeah, because I mean, you watch so much of this stuff, and like, so a lot of these cases, it just seems like normal people that end up doing heinous shit, and you're like, well,
Like,
I live next to normal people and across the street from normal people, and I go to the grocery store with normal people. Like, So,
And the thing is, nobody's normal, man. Yeah, it's one of those. Bridget, she doesn't really watch true crime as much, but she loves. This is my wife, or whatever that we're talking about. But she loves like Criminal Minds, and all the Law and Orders, all the Chicago various series, whatever. And I mean, we can't go anywhere without her being like, "That's a murderer," or like just thinking about the most heinous. Like we were at our kid karate practice a week or so ago, and this guy walks in to the dojo and walks to like the back room in a like he's just like a kid dressed in clothes, and then but he's got a big duffel bag with him, and he walks in, and of
and
course,
and
like
he's
I'm
dragging
a
it.
like he's got a big duffel bag, sure, and like I work in a public education, so like threat assessment is like a thing that you kind of constantly are doing, even when you're not thinking about it. I look at the guy, I give him an ocular pat down,
Mhm,
as some
mhm.
people have once said, and I'm noticing the little things like he walks in, nobody says anything to him. They like look at him and acknowledge him, and like like the instructors there are like hey, nodding to him, all that stuff. Like they have no, they're not wondering why the guy's walking to the back of the room. Bridget's all over him. She's like, Seth. She's she's getting tense. She's Seth. What is he doing back there? I'm like, he's got his karate stuff in his duffel bag. He had I saw him walking into the building earlier. He had a bow staff, like the big stick.
Mhm.
It's a karate weapon. He's like he's here for his karate lesson in like an hour or something like that. He's just it looks like he's here early. But why has he got that big bag? I'm like, you
It's his
know,
equipment. He's here to
he's
learn.
he's here to learn to learn how to deal with people that you're worried about, right?
He's here to
He's
kick
there.
ass and chew bubble gum.
He's here for the rest of us. But yeah, I mean, I get that kind of is my illustration of what I think you're saying. Like it kind of
Yeah,
puts you in this frame of mind to where you're like he's just constantly on the lookout for trouble.
yeah. When I was in high school, I took a class, like a research class, and one of the books we had to read in that class was a book called "The Cases That Haunt Us," and it was about like some of the most notorious unsolved cases in the last few hundred years, and things like Jack the Ripper, the Zodiac, and it was written by the guy who did like the John Benet Ramsey investigation, and I think that's where my love of true crime started because the John Benet shit is like insane, right? Like there was this ransom note and it was written on like a legal pad that was there because they could see like the impression of it underneath. And then John Bonet's body was like found in the basement of their house after like a long time. And it shows like how kind of bungled the investigation was. And so I think that's kind of where my love for it all started. And also interrogations are really interesting to watch because it's all just about like trying to corner somebody in their lies and like get them to break. So
Mm.
I've learned a lot. But anyway, this is Marvel. This is Rival Banter. We get together every week and talk about all things Marvel Rival. Sorry we missed last week, guys. Seth was wrapped up and busy, and my normal subs were also not around to tap in for him. So we took the week off, but I think that's okay. We do this show every single week for free, and just we enjoy doing it. But a week off felt pretty good, and I'm ready to be back at it. How about you?
It was restful, yeah. Although I'll note, like I spoke to a listener that I know, and well, at least like a consumer of content, and he was like, I mean, why didn't Luke just do the show by himself?
Can you
He was
imagine?
waiting. He was waiting for the episode. I mean, I don't listen to us anyway. It's I'm guilty of that. I just haven't found the time, but I like doing the show, and I think I'd be more likely to listen to it if it was just you. Like I don't know if I want to hear my ugly voice just kind of rapping and yapping, but like I could listen to you like proselytize or whatever about stuff.
Back in the day when I was in high school, I actually would like put together sports radio shows and publish them. I don't even remember where I would publish them, and I didn't do very many of them, but yeah, I would do like segments where, and it was just me talking. So I can't imagine doing that now, like getting on here and just being like, here's an hour and a half of just me talking about Marvel Rivals. I can't do this
I
without
had
my co-pilot.
I knew you
DB
did. I
Cooper.
knew you in high school. I I knew you in high school. I did not know that you did that. That's,
Yeah.
cool.
Dude, I tried all kinds of things. I had like a sports blog that I wrote for a while that actually got like somewhat popular. And yeah,
Oh,
I've always enjoyed content creation. So here I am
well, there you go.
17 years later. God, it's been 17 years since I've been in high school. All right, moving on, guys. Uh, anyway, Seth, how's your week going, my friend?
It's going well, just, that busy time of the year. Our esports season has started up at school, so, I've got the people in there. We're grinding. Everybody is, juggling trying to play their games, and then Hollow Knight Silk Song to prove they're good. Um, and, it's been fun. We're kinda, people are excited about this new season of Rivals coming up. Just good stuff all around. Just trying to keep the energy up, trying to keep from getting sick. That's that kind of that time of the year.
Yeah, yeah. My wife already got sick and brought it home with her. So, uh,
Mm,
so
mhm.
I know how that goes. And she's around like elementary kids, like real little kids, so they don't know how to not be gross. Not that high schoolers are much better. So,
Nah, I watched like but I'm gonna say this and keep in mind a part of my job is I have to go stand in the bathroom at times to make sure that the youths aren't like vaping and fondling each other and so, like whatever you do. If you leave those bathrooms untended, there will be 40 people in a
mhm.
bathroom with six toilets, right?
Just
Like just
rolling
jam
craps in
packed
the corner and
like a nightclub.
gambling.
I've seen people selling food in the restroom, like just like pulling chips and Gatorades out of bags, like duffel bags they bring with them to school. You can't do that. I've like you walk in a bathroom and you just know people have been smoking in there. Those vapes, those jewels, there it's just mist is flowing all in the air. So when I say I was watching some guys go out of the bathroom, it's because of that. It was a part of my job,
I love
and
that.
I
That was
watched.
all just a justification.
Right, whatever. But I watched 10 guys go leave the bathroom today. Two of them washed their hands.
Yeah, dude. Why? How? What's going on, guys? It
That's
doesn't
how we
take very
lost
long.
the COVID fight. That's why
Yeah,
it's
dude.
still
We
with
were
us today.
doomed. Yeah. Yeah.
Those high school boys.
All right, guys. This is Rival Banter. We get together every week, talk about all things Marvel Rivals, and then we push it out to you on podcast services everywhere. You can also follow us on social media, on Twitter, and on what's that other? Not Twitter, on TikTok and Instagram at Rival Banter. Wherever you're looking at this content, make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, all those sorts of things. We got some viewer comments, Seth, and I went a little bit of a different route picking out the comments this week because we're 2 weeks removed from last week's episode. Some of that news is old news, but I did want to get some people's opinions about Resource Rumble because it is, I think, kind of the first foray into expanding the sort of base game of Rivals. And so I was just kind of interested in what people's opinions were a week after it released. So we've got a few comments here, and we can just kind of react to them as we read them. And then after that, we've got tons of shit to talk about season 4, guys. We have a jam-packed show for you, and we are already 15 minutes into this because we were talking about true crime. But Donnie over on TikTok said, "Oh, this is not about Resource Rumble. This was just a comment that I thought was cool." He said,
Damn it, Luke.
"Sorry." He said, "I think we need a PVE mode where we fight with our boys against waves of enemies, maybe a story."
Yeah,
Seth, do you
I
want
mean
to see some
Overwatch
PVE?
did it right. Like
Yeah,
What is it?
Junkerstein's adventure. Yeah,
Junkerstein's Revenge,
yeah,
some
whatever it was called.
whatever they were. Yeah, I mean, it could be cool. I think there are plenty of like just armies of mindless Marvel enemies that you could probably play around with to do something like that. I mean, yeah, I'd touch base with it for sure, especially if the rewards are right, and the incentives there, then definitely.
Did you ever, dude? I got so into horde mode in like Gears. I don't even know. Maybe it was like Gears 2, Gears 3 when I was in college or something like that. We played so much horde mode. So that's one of those things. Like if it's done right, it can really it'd be able to sink its claws into me. And I'd love to see Rivals do something where it's sort of also like a little roguelike, where with your team, you're kind of
Mhm.
you're unlocking upgrades and you're kind of picking your upgrade path for your character, right? And just an endless wave of hordes to see who can get the highest level or whatever. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I always wanted to play more Horde. I just, I don't think I had the squad for it at that juncture. But yeah, I'm down again. Give me more everything. We'll be talking about some of that stuff, I'm sure, with the season 4 talk soon. But bring it on.
For sure. Then X over on TikTok commented, this is about Resource Rumble, and said, I liked it. I don't want it in ranked though. um, I've
That's
seen that.
fair.
I saw this opinion a couple times in our comments section, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. Do you think that this feels like a pretty good competitive mode, or do you think it kind of belongs in this sort of one off territory?
So I do, and I don't know how tricky this would be to pull off, or it might just be too much in general. But I almost kind of prefer it being a separate mode, and I don't mind there being a competitive version of this, but I don't know. I don't really know what I would fix about it. Because I enjoy it. I like literally. We were playing last night, you and I just was in the middle of saying like, we haven't played this mode in a while. I kind of miss it, and then it popped into our quick play rotation, and I kind of was like, I don't know how I feel about that. I did want to play the game, but I want to be in control of when I play the game. So maybe it's just where I haven't played enough of it so far. But I mean, it's interesting. I like it. It's fun. It's just not necessarily what I want to play all the time. I don't
Yeah,
know. I could be. Maybe I need more maps. Maybe I need more content,
I think
to
that's a
kind of
part of it.
level it out. Looking at
Yeah,
Clintar all the time, we've talked it to death, but it's just it's a lot.
yeah, for sure. Michael Lozano said something to that effect over on. I think this is on TikTok as well. He said it's kind of lacking something, and I think I agree with that take. Like, and I think that's such a perfect comment because I don't think I can quite put my finger on what it is that it is missing. I think it might be the differentiating factor with domination. I think it feels a little too close to domination just without the breaks in between in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and there's kind of like a mystery to it, like to how some things work. Like it, kind of like we said before. I mean, some people, I think it was a point in contention last week. We were kind of talking about how it can feel. It's not super convoluted in that it's complicated to play. It's not a Destiny raid or anything like that. But there's some things like it doesn't really explain much about how it works. And I think some of these best competitive modes, like back to Overwatch, back to this, to pretty much any game of its ilk, right, is that they're pretty simple, they're pretty basic. It's capture this point, push the point this way. Maybe there are some tricks like, oh, the point heals you, but that's not pretty that integral to the game. This, especially without like any kind of tutorial, I feel like it's not confusing, but it's just hard to kind of put your finger on. It's an enigma. It's
Mhm.
enigmatic.
Yeah, and we posted up a video a couple weeks ago talking about how this mode kind of lacks a little bit of clarity, and a lot of people were in the comments talking because it was a video of me saying that, and they were talking about how this guy's stupid. He must have never played an objective based game. How is it hard to understand? And it's not hard to understand. There's a giant ass like A when you need to go to A. Like the fundamentally, it's not complicated, but there are things about it that are just like unnecessarily confusing. I think like your team is ready to rumble. Like what does that mean? And it turns out that it's like tied to the math of the game that if you reach a certain point, you can't lose without going to the third point and rumbling on the third point and doing the like tug of war on that point. And it's like it's just such a weird way to like communicate that idea. And then there's also like the mechanic that if somebody on the enemy team is standing on the point while you have it captured, your progress will pause. And that's not how domination works, right? Like that's a totally different way that a mechanic in the game works versus the game mode that it looks very similar to, right? And there's no real way of knowing that and I guess Galacta has like a little bit of a line that she says if somebody's standing on the point you need to clear them off or whatever, but yeah, I agree. Like it's not as straightforward. There's some stuff you need to like understand about the mode, it doesn't make it unplayable or anything like that. But I do think it leads to people saying like it's kind of lacking something. And I think it is kind
Yeah.
of lacking something in those first couple points as well to really differentiate it from domination. I really liked what I thought the mode was at first, which was that you gain more resources the more people you have standing on the point, and like make it more of a brawl, like arena style.
It's kinda more about map control and stuff like that too. Uh, yeah, I think maybe if I can't still really put my finger on it, but every mode in a game like this kinda has these little subtle nuances or things they don't really explain. Again, like, the point heals you. If you're pushing the cart, whatever that is, it's gonna do a little bit of healing for you. They don't tell you that, but you just kinda figure it out. I feel like this game mode just has more of that stuff, and it's kind of so much more that it's just kinda it maybe feels a little wonky or kind of feels the experience is incomplete, maybe, if
Mhm.
that makes any sense.
Uh, Dice per Dice Props, I believe is his name, over on Instagram said it feels like over time the game mode, and I love that. And I I like this observation too because that is what the third point feels like. That tug of war, it can so quickly flip if you lose a fight and the other team wins that fight. It does kind of feel like an extended overtime. It's a little bit more frenetic, and I think I kind of like that. But more so, I like this comment because it's like kind of like that idea is just a game mode in and of itself of like,
Just like nip the first 2 points, just have that tug of war.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, although, like, to a degree, that's almost kinda like what is it Clone Rumble or, like, Conquest, where you're kinda, like, doing a tug of war with items that
yeah,
you get, like totems or whatever they are, Chronovium. Um, but I
yeah,
don't know, I mean, it's different, but it kinda feels the same to me, just conceptually.
yeah, for sure. And then our final comment comes from Connor, responding to us talking about how it feels like more of a brawl mode, and he says, I feel like it's more of a dive mode. They're going to be picked a lot for the mobility they have to make it the like 100+ meters, have better potential to pick off people on the way there, and makes it easier to start the one-sided stomp that is really valuable in this mode as opposed to something like domination. And I think that the more I've played, the more like different comps are viable. I do think, especially in this map, there's a lot of chokes, right?
Mhm.
Like, especially when you start taking space, there's all these like tight corridors to get through. And I think because of that, kind of lends itself a little bit more to like brawl and spam and stuff like that.
It kinda makes it difficult to take space too, because I mean, there's so many ways for, like, teams to kind of get around, you when you're trying to do that, and then you kinda lose the point. So, yeah, I mean, again, that's part of it that I love is that you're playing it anyway, you're still got that element of map control where you're trying to get that point, control it, keep it, for kind of an extended period, and then, of course, you've got the brawl phase at the end.
Yeah. And I'm sure things will evolve as because it's not going. I don't think it's going into competitive right now. So I imagine there's going to be some tweaks and changes that are made to it, and based off of a lot of the feedback that people are having. I am interested. Maybe we'll do a poll on our YouTube or something like that, or just in the comments of the episode. I'd love to hear like what changes you would make to the mode. Not necessarily do you like it, do you not like it, but what are the changes that you would make to the mode to improve it and to make it better? Because I think that they invested so much time and effort into this game mode, they're going to make it work one way or another. So what is the thing that's missing? What are the changes that you would make to get it? Let us know in the comments, and we'll respond to some of those next week. But Seth, what did you get up to in game this week?
Not a ton. I've been playing a little bit more just in general this week. I think the kind of the anticipation of Angela, kind of somebody else, a new element in our Vanguard rotation has been kind of bringing me back in a little bit more. I think I kind of lost some steam this season just with all the kind of complaints and concerns that we've had about the game just in general this season. I think there's been a little bit of fatigue for me, but I feel like that's kind of going away as I'm getting more excited for the new stuff. New stuff will always kind of like reseal the deal for me. So I'm excited. I'm excited for some of the stuff that we've seen that we're going to get into here in a little bit. And yeah, so I've just been racking up whatever my purple currency. I've been uh,
Mhm.
collecting units, just taking full advantage of all that, trying to get as much as I can saved up. So as soon as some of these new classy skins start dropping, I can just grab and go.
Yeah, I've racked up a ton of units based off of, I mean, because you get like 8 resets of like the big challenges and stuff like that. Like you can,
Mhm.
yeah, you can get a lot. I imagine they're going to rebalance some stuff for the season pass for this
I
next
would
one.
think so. Because I'm at 20, like 2,600 or something like that
Yeah,
units,
that's
or
crazy.
I mean, it's a lot, and that's enough to buy like at least an epic skin and have some change left over. So is it
Yeah,
epic or mythic? Whatever.
yeah, whatever.
Gold.
The high tier ones.
Hmm.
Yeah, I played quite a bit this week too. We played quite a bit together. I'm having a lot more fun when we're like tank duoing. I think when you and I kind of both lock in tank, it kind of forces everybody to play intelligently. Like there's not space for us to go for DPS at that point if people want to get healed. So
Hmm.
um
Still happens, but
yeah.
it's more rare.
Yeah, but then I just go fifth DPS. um,
Hmm. Hmm.
but I've been playing a lot more Hulk, and dude, he's just so different. Like, how much Hulk have you played?
Mid to none, like enough to like have a feel for him in some ways, but like I don't think I'm even knight with him so far.
Yeah, I feel like I should watch some videos of like people who know what they're doing with this character because he plays so different from the other tanks that I like to play. You know, Thing and Emma, and so getting into the backline and harassing. A lot of times I feel like I'm not doing a lot, but then I look at like the space I'm creating and I'm like, oh shit, like this is kind of the reason we were able to take the point because I'm harassing their backline and just keeping them from being able to make a difference and stuff. But uh, he's just so dependent on it too, on like just getting constant heals. And I also don't think I manage his bubbles all that well. But uh, I'm enjoying the challenge because I would love to play like Venom but like I'm not real good with high mobility tanks, but I think Hulk is like just that right amount to kind of get me thinking in that way of like better target selection. Like I'm terrible with Cap too for the same reason. Like he's high mobility, you can kind of find yourself in sticky situations really easily. Um,
Hmm.
but you almost how close are you to Lord on your Cap?
I just hit Centurion like yesterday, and I've made a little progress, but that Centurion grind is slow. So I mean, I'll get there eventually. I told one of the kids today, he was like, "Hey, you're almost Cap Lord," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm in it for the Riz, for that Lord icon. Just looks so cool." But yeah, I'm getting there. I don't really know who my next one would be. Ultron would be cool. I like having him in my pocket, but I think I'm going to be hitting Angela pretty hard. I'm kind of concerned at her mobility and if that's going to like because I'm kind of like you. I struggle. I don't have enough of the ADHD in me to like do really well with the Spider-Man, with a Venom, somebody like that. And Angela, that flying tank, I'm just going to have to kind of see it and feel it out to really see if she's a good fit. But I'm excited. I mean, it's she's something totally different, and that's kind of that's doing a lot for me right now.
Yeah. And she gets to team up with Thor and gives, Thor a cool new ability. We'll talk more about Angela here
Hmm. Hmm.
in just a second because we're about to hop into the news, which is also our topic for the day. And it's just all things season 4. I have the patch notes pulled up for Rivals. It's actually, do I have the patch notes in here? Let me put this link in here for you, Seth, because I don't think I have
Okay.
it. Because I think the best way for us to talk through this, because there's a lot of shit to get through, is just to talk about. Oh, it is there. It's the very first link that is underneath the news.
Oh
Not
yeah,
the
yeah,
not the first one, but the one next to patch notes. uh,
yeah.
but but yeah, I figure we can just kind of go through these patch notes. We won't talk about everything in here, but it'll give us a good structure on how to structure our conversation. We've already talked about Angela being the character that's coming to the game, and we have our new trailer for Angela. And I'm going to roll that while we talk about her. So Angela's coming to the game as a Vanguard, and she is going to have 2 stances. She's going to have her grounded stance and her flight stance, and those stances gives her different kinds of abilities. But Seth, I don't know if you've got the trailer rolling right now and watching this, but how do you feel about a flying tank? Maybe not necessarily playing one, but just having to combat against one.
I love the idea. I don't know exactly what that looks like. Was there a flying tank in Overwatch, like a true flying tank?
No, not really.
Uh, so I mean, I'm enthusiastic. I haven't like analyzed the clip enough to like be able to tell because like it seems like she can walk on the ground. She's not constantly flying like Storm or somebody like that. She can like walk and run, right?
Yeah,
Or at
so
least like
she's got those 2
trot.
stances that you can kinda switch between, and I don't know if there's a cooldown like there is for diamond form or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
O
That's what I guess I missed in kind of the first look through or two. But yeah, so I mean I'm intrigued, especially if I know I've got that level of control. You can kind of play her a couple of different ways. Again, I just really need to see it and feel it in motion to kind of get a better idea. But I mean, I think it could be potentially a huge game changer. I think there's potential for like a three tank meta in there, maybe. I don't know how that looks exactly. Again, like maybe it's the return of goats. Who knows?
Well, and I think like her team up with Thor and so Thor gets so she's the anchor, so she gets some extra bonus health, and then Thor gets this other ability where he throws a spear. If he lands the spear, it recharges his Thor force, and then he can jump to that spear and stun people. So I think you're going to get a lot of really interesting kind of team play between her and Thor as well, and it's just a lot of really kind of in your face threats able to hit you from a lot of different angles as well. But I want to see more of this from Rivals, where they kind of have two vanguards as the team up, because I think it's going to encourage a lot more players to play two tanks and play the game as it's kind of intended to be played.
Yeah, in a similar way, like we've said, that to a lot of vanguards getting dropped, and it kind of incentivizes playing more vanguard. So you never know. Maybe Daredevil will be that vanguard too. We'll see.
So yeah, while she's in the air, I'm going to go through some of her abilities here. So while she's in the air, she's going to her spear is going to be her main weapon. So your primary fire is going to be lunging forward with your spear. You're going to deal damage that increases with attack charge, and then at full charge, the spear of Icor, is that how you say it? Uh,
I think so.
can deal more damage and launch up enemies. And then in her grounded mode, the axes are her primary fire. Um, so your uh yeah, sorry. So your primary fire is going to be alternating powerful strikes forward with the twin axes, dealing increased damage as attack charge grows. And the force strike propels you forward in a swift dash. So I think she's going to be a pretty high skill tank as well. You're going to have to be able to kind of land your shots and control her movement in order to kind of keep that attack charge fully loaded, and also to kind of stack the different procs of her attacks. Her shift ability is Assassin's Charge, so you enter an accelerated dash state, becoming immune to knockback and launch up. So think like I guess it's kind of like the things, charging ability. And then enemy struck head on or carried through the air for a short distance. So some soft CC tied in there with her as well. Her E ability, while she's in the air, she's going to dive downward, switch to twin axes, and infuse the ground with icors to create a divine judgment zone upon impact, whatever that means. Oh, here it is. Within the zone,
Sounds cool.
gain enhanced speed, and attacks grant bonus health to self and nearby allies. So a little bit of like support built into her kit as well, which I think is really cool. Then Wingblade Ascent is her E while she's on the ground. Take to the sky, switching back to Spears of Icor. So the E is just how you kind of switch between the two, but going to grounded gives her a different effect. Then the shielded stance is her right mouse button, transforms Icors into a shield, gaining charge attack when absorbing damage. So you can still, charge your attack charge while playing a little more defensive. And then Seraphic Soar is her passive. Glide freely through the air. Continuous flying builds attack charge. So you are going to be able to to fly. But it seems like you're a little more vulnerable when you're flying as well. You're not going to have as many kind of defense tools. And then her ultimate ability is Heaven's Retribution. Wrap your spear in ribbons and hurl it with force. Upon impact, the ribbons bind nearby enemies. Angela can leap to the spear's location, damaging surrounding enemies and creating a divine judgment zone. Seems pretty complicated, Seth.
Yeah, I mean, she might, for all we know, she might be a 5-star
I think
difficulty,
she's
but
4, I think is what I
4.
saw, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I feel in my at my level right now, I feel like I can handle 4. 5 is kind of 5 is what is it still just Spider-Man? Is he the only
I don't know.
5-star difficulty? Whatever, but yeah, I feel like I can handle 4, and sometimes it's kind of misleading anyway. I feel like that's
Yeah.
kind of a spectrum. Like it's not necessarily I don't know, like just it's this or nothing. So yeah, I'm excited to at least try her out. I'm more inclined to try her out than I have been Blade or Phoenix or anybody from last season or so.
Yeah, because she's in a role that, we like to play, I think, first and foremost, but
Hmm.
and I think this is kind of what you see in a lot of hero-based games, especially with expanding rosters. I know you weren't really big into League of Legends, and you kind of fell out of Overwatch by the time their roster started to get quite a bit bigger, but as you add more characters into a game, I think the more you have to have like these sort of complicated kits because you spent all of your simple ideas on the earlier characters and now you're having to differentiate them. And as you're, I think especially now, like in League, if you go look at a League uh, like wiki page for a brand new character and read through all the different passives and stacking abilities and proc on the third hit and how this thing scales, like you're basically reading novels at that point. And I feel like that's kind of where we're going to get with Rivals, especially at this pace of character release where every single character is going to present a little bit more challenging kit to understand and to master, and then just having to keep up with that as a player, even if you're not playing those characters, but you're facing off against them and having to understand what their kit does. I think it's going to get complicated. So, um, Angela looks exciting to me. I'm excited to give her a try too. I like the idea of a flying tank. Um, there seems to be a lot of CC in her kit, even if some of it is like soft CC. But um, and then you've got like the additional CC with like Thor being able to stun with the team up ability when you're playing as well.
Can you define soft CC for me?
So soft CC would be like a stun that doesn't necessarily lock you down
Okay.
to a specific spot, or something that. So one thing we're going to talk about is like a change with Bucky is that one of his abilities now, if you land it, removes your ability to use like your movement abilities for a
Mm.
certain length of time. Like that would be soft CC. So you get like some form of crowd control without completely taking away their ability to move. So like Squirrel Girl with the nut that like locks people down, that would be like hard CC, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. How many games do you think you're going to actually be able to play with her this weekend?
I mean, I feel she's a tank, so like, let's be real. I don't think she's going to be that competitive
That's true.
to get to. She's got a body that doesn't quit, but for
Mm.
different reasons than Emma did. So, I feel like she doesn't have the same exact mommy appeal that brought a lot of people to Emma and got them hooked on her, at least at first. So, um, you know, I'm pretty confident that I'll be playing a good deal of her this weekend. Prove me
What
wrong, people.
what can you tell me about Angela from a lore perspective? I don't know much about
I
her.
know I had to look her up after they revealed her. I'd kind of seen pictures of her in kind of like the lead up to like kind of the hypothesizing about who this season's characters were going to be, and she's pretty cool. Like another one of those Odin's daughters, like the children of Odin, the female children of Odin. So she's up there. That's why she's got Thor team up. There's some convoluted, complicated history where she was created by, and I'm gonna botch this. I'm not a scholar by any means, but it was something like she was co-created by like Todd McFarlane and Neil Gaiman, like from Coraline, and he's got a huge body of work. He's also apparently done some strange things that he's kind of ostracized for now. I don't know if he was confirmed guilty on that stuff, but whatever. Um, so there's like been rights battles as far as like the copyright for who owns this character. I forget who won, but like there's this whole kind of history, and then she wasn't really like Marvel canon, I think, for a while, and then eventually she kind of just became. It was one of those situations where she got adopted into the canon, and it was revealed that even after she'd been around for a while, that she's now one of these siblings of Thor's. So that's about all I know. Again, that's just kind of like a quick scan of probably like a wiki or something like that. But I mean, it's interesting. It's cool. Wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing her pop up in some more content, or people start like kind of hunting down those comics to see what she's all about.
That's interesting that she's kind of a modern creation into, because I mean, when you think about like Thor and the rest of like the Asgard storylines within Marvel, like most of those characters are original to like the
A lot of them are OGs, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
and
like
if
to the
they're not
actual mythology,
OGs,
right?
yeah, yeah, and well, like literally in this case, like yeah. So she's kind of a. I don't know about Hela. I don't know if she's in the like Norse pantheon,
See,
maybe.
let's see, is Hela actually in the Norse mythology? Yes. Oh, it's Hel,
Mm.
not Hela.
Okay, okay, that's what it is.
Yeah, exists in Norse mythology as the goddess and ruler of Helheim, the realm of the dead. She is the daughter of Loki in the Jotun Angraboa and was given her dominion by Odin, overseeing souls who died of sickness or old age. So yeah, like
Yeah,
to
they play
create,
around with like the relations and
yeah,
stuff like that.
because
Some
she's a is she a sister in
So in
right?
Marvel, yeah,
Yeah,
she's a sibling. She's like the kind of forgotten, ostracized sibling. I guess there's another one now with Angela or whatever, but she's just kind of off to the side, and now she kind of gets her revenge. At least in the MCU, like in the Ragnarok arc, um, where like Asgard gets destroyed. Basically, spoilers for an old movie now, but um yeah, like, they play around, I think, with their relationships and stuff. Some of it they kinda make a little more true to the original mythology than others. Yeah, I'd be interested to kinda do some research on Angela too to see, how where she comes from, if there's kinda some more historical grounding for her.
yeah. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll have plenty of thoughts on Angela come next week's episode. But let's move on and talk about the new Battle Pass, Fruit of Immortality. And Seth, I've got the Marvel Rivals.gg page for the Battle Pass skins pulled up because they have a preview of all of the different pages, so we can kind of take a look at these skins and review them one by one. Um, so the first page is a new Luna skin. Uh, I don't know. Have you looked much at this battle pass?
So, not a lot. I looked at it for I've been kind of told about it by various people, like, the kids that get excited about this kinda stuff. I can't lie, I do too, to some degree. It's a different degree, but to some degree. And, it's a yeah, I like, a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing here. This Luna is awesome. She kinda fits that vibe, that kinda like the duality vibe that we've gotten over the past season a little bit more, or at least in 3.5 or so. Yeah, she looks cool.
You know, the abyssal glow Luna Snow. Then on page two, we have a new Winter Soldier skin, which I feel like is the first new Winter Soldier skin we've gotten in a long time.
There are several like, there are only 1 or 2 characters for whom I have no skins, and this is one of them. So, I'm excited, even though it's just a blue rarity, I'm excited that I'm finally kinda moving up.
Yeah, this one is definitely a just kind of a looks kind of like a recolor, right? There doesn't seem to be much unique about this outside of just the white pants and white jacket.
Yeah.
But then we have McCree, I mean Cassidy, I mean Star Lord, with the Starlit Outlaw skin. This skin is sick. I don't play Star Lord, but I do like the design of this.
Maybe you will now?
Maybe, who knows? fifth DPS baby. And then we get sort of we get this golden age cap skin, which is a very traditional looking cap skin, and you seem very excited, Seth.
You told me about this or a couple nights ago. I think Sunday night when we played, and I was like, "What?" Because I love that. Like that's my favorite Cap figure that I've got is back here. He's kind of the traditional like OG Cap style. The scales like on the suit I really like. Kind of reminds me of like an eagle's feathers laying on top of each other or whatever. It's awesome. The boots, stylish, kind of big, kind of got that 70s feel to them. But when I looked at the pic, like I looked at this cat, oh my god, how many times? Anyway, I look at this. This is a blue skin. Like this is. I feel like this is a missed opportunity. Now I understand why the rarity is so low. Like it's kind of vanilla. It's kind of basic. Um, but I feel like that's what makes it majestic. And I don't know. Like I'm just kind of baffled. I would pay a lot of like not a lot, but I would pay full skin price, like, purple rarity or beyond for a skin like this with some cool effects or whatever, I would be totally 1000% down. And that being said, I can be odd. Like I'm a pretty vanilla guy myself. If I could pick a food to take with me to a deserted island, it would be like potato chips, just because I like that crunch, baby. It's an oral fixation. I've got to have that oomph. And when I eat chips, a lot of the times I'm just cool with plain Lay's potato chips, right? Just the smooth, crunchy sensation. The salt, the canola oil, whatever it is, I'm down. It's not an ad for Lay's, whatever.
I'll be honest, I don't know what we're talking
I'm getting somewhere. I'm getting
I got
somewhere.
you. I'm with you, man. I'm sticking with you.
But well, you just said you're not, but it's fine.
No, I'm on the
But so,
journey.
like, this is so kinda, like, basic, but it's just, like, pure. It's
Yeah.
it's it's it's, it's classic, and I think that's, like I would pay, again, money for this kinda classic skin, this look. I think it's awesome, but I do get the idea, like, I understand it is kind of like a reskin of the basic cap. I mean, it's just the red, white, and blue, but I feel like it's just different enough to make it just badass.
Mhm.
That's a missed opportunity. I'm still gonna rock this skin, probably over like my Captain Clintar or like any other cap skin that I have. I think this kind of outshines the other ones.
Yeah, and not only is this a battle pass skin, but it is a free battle pass skin, so you don't even have to purchase the luxury
The,
level.
I'm telling you right now, NetEase, if you're listening out there, you dropped the ball. You could have had my bucks and you lost them. You're gonna get them in other ways, but cat, oh my god.
Then on page 5, we've got Old Man Hawkeye.
Mm,
I imagine we're
you know
gonna
what
see
that
more
means.
old man skins.
You know what that means. It's coming. But that guy, I forget your name, but you left a comment a while back. It's coming. It's got to be.
What,
It's
the Old Man Logan skin?
yeah,
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 yeah.
buddy. We've seen a lot of Logan. I feel like here lately, but I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it again. I'll take it again.
Yeah, I don't think we've
Cat.
gotten a paid skin though since Weapon X. So
That's true. That's true. So yeah, I'm all for it.
then we have the Astral Wanderer Doctor Strange skin here on page 7. This one's interesting to me. That's definitely not my favorite of the Doctor Strange skins because it just kind of feels like again a recolor, but
Yeah.
and he's also got the Skeeter from Doug skin going on for some reason. Uh, then we've got a Phoenix skin on page 8, the Dark Phoenix skin, and yeah, that's cool. Doesn't really move
It's
me on
cool.
that much, but it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Page 9, this skin is sick. The Immortal Firebird for Loki. Um, I really like this one.
Yeah.
And then the other free skin in this, I think, is the other. I'm with you on the Cap skin, but the Trial of Magneto skin uh, is also a free skin, and this one looks sick as well. He wears this in the. Doesn't he wear this in X-Men '97?
Like a pretty a similar version of it, yeah. I can't really see um what like the first appearance is. I feel like there's another he may have another like canonical version of this too, but if it's the image is just blurry enough. Maybe it's just my screen, but I can't really make out like what the source is. Oh wait, Uncanny X-Men 1963. So like I think there's an
Oh,
arc where he's like locked up, chained up, or something like that. Maybe it's the Genosha arc. No, I don't know. I'd have to. I don't know my dates and stuff like that all that well. That's why I didn't major in history. But um, yeah, this is awesome. It's got just enough dong too in there to I think put the asses in the seats. Like
yeah, baby.
that's how are they getting away with that bulge? Like that's
Also, how do you decide? And I guess this could be a question that you ask about any character, like how do you decide how big, and maybe this is me just coming around to a problem in character design that's been there for a long time, but how do you decide how big Mag's bulge is going to be? Is there a canonical acceptable version or
I don't know, and I feel like someone needs to do like a comparison of the different skins because I feel like I'm not upset or anything. I'm no prude, but I feel like there's a difference in this and like the banana hammock skins, and I feel like this is almost more impressive and not necessarily. Well, we don't need to, I guess, go too deep into it for the sake of some of our careers, but I mean, there's a lot to kind of dissect here. I think there's a shape discussion to be had.
Mhm.
You can see the where the spandex meets the navel, and like his belly button's kind of poking in right there. So I feel like if you look real hard, I'm zoomed in right now currently, and I feel like there's a discussion to be had about the cell shading or something like that to
Mhm.
really get people going.
Well, look, Rivals has been known to use these skin updates to increase the size of certain anatomy, right? We saw this with
Mhm,
like the old school X-Men skin for like Magic and Psylocke making their backsides bigger. And so I feel like they're taking this sort of approach with Mag as well, where it's the first thing you notice when you see this image.
mhm.
And it's the
And
first thing you're gonna notice when I'm coming at you in a fight.
it's like it's a little modest, it's very masculine, it's like, I think it exudes confidence,
Mhm.
um, 100%. This again, like, I would have paid buku bucks for this thing, I think, so I'm sold.
Is there an age for you yourself where you would have felt confident wearing something like this? My answer is no. There's no time in my life where I would have been like, yeah, squeeze me in one of them.
I was on the swim team for a while, pretty good length of time, and a part of that we never wore, like, the banana hammock Speedos because, we're in the deep South, right? Or at least, well, I guess the South.
The South, yeah.
Um, yeah, and, it's, I wore, like, the kinda trunk fitting, trunk
Hmm.
style Speedos, and, there's some degree, to that, but, I was conscious of it, but I didn't let it stop me from doing it. Now, I would not choose to wear that to a water park or, as some do, or to, like, a day on the beach or something like that. I'm gonna go for some nice board shorts,
Hmm.
like a swim trunk with some support, some netting involved is, kinda my preference too, but whatever.
Yeah, in some ways, I envy those people who just are able to go to the beach and be like, I'm just going to wear this speedo regardless of how I look. Like, I don't care. I'm just going to wear it. But yeah, it couldn't be me. And then our final skin is the Moon Knight mech skin, which I think looks cool, but I've seen a lot of people comparing this to Penny Parker and how it looks more like a Penny Parker design, and I think I kind of agree.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, that's a fine line. I'm hoping that, like, the size difference is enough. Like, I don't necessarily see myself confusing this for a
Yeah,
Penny on
no,
the battlefield,
for
but
sure.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a motif, it's a theme, kinda like you have that kinda mechy look to it. I don't know. I'm not against it. It's not really, like, selling me on Moon Knight anymore than, I have been in the past, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know. I feel like last season's Battle Pass had a really kind of clear uh, theme and motif when it came to all of the skins together. You had like the symbiote, and then you had the like Phoenix duality skins within it. I feel like this is a little less cohesive, and I don't think I'm necessarily against that at all because I feel like last season's battle pass felt sort of like, hey, we designed this whole suite of characters, we're going to sell some and then put the leftovers in the battle pass. But I don't know, am I missing something here, Seth?
No, and I think, I mean, that may be a response to some feedback kinda like we've been giving too, and maybe not directly to us, but, I'm gonna assume not directly to us, but I think the last season was so based on that singular theme that,
Mm.
this is kind of a nice change of pace for me, like, we're getting kind of a little bit of a lot of different stuff. I'm sure we'll see some more of that theme and like the event specific stuff that we're going to be getting here soon. What is it? The Infinity something that's here on the show notes somewhere. Infinity Crisis. Is that it?
Oh yeah, this was a leak of a potential arcade mode for Infinity Crisis on Maveth from
Oh no, sorry.
Excellence League.
I'm thinking about something else. I guess it's just whatever the event that they've announced is for.
Uh, oh, the Ultron event, the Immortal Beasts, Scroll of Immortal
Yeah,
Beasts.
yeah, yeah. So I'm sure we'll see some of that kind of stuff in some events like this, but I'm not like um this whole season seems like it's kind of built around like Kunlun and a dragon and some stuff, and I can see a little bit of that in this past, but it's not pervasive.
Yeah, but you also, I mean, like this Ultron skin is called the Wasteland Robot. It feels sort of like spaghetti western, and you've got a little bit of those kinds of skins as well in this battle pass with like the Starlit Outlord, the Old Man Hawkeye skin. So maybe that's a little bit of the theme as well. I'm not exactly sure how Moon Knight Mech plays into that. Look, guys, if you're listening to my voice and trying to get any sense of what the lore is of this game, you are far away from where you're going to find that. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. I think as we see kind of the events roll out, maybe the motif and the themes are going to get a little bit more apparent. But yeah, that is the next thing that was on the list, the season event for Ultron, the Wasteland Robot, Scroll of Immortal Beasts. I don't. So that's the free skin that's in this event. I don't know if there's other skins that are tied to it. Have you seen any other details about this event?
I'm watching a thing right now that was posted 10 hours ago, but I think I've already seen it. It looks like it's mainly just advertising the skin.
Okay, is it like a trailer for it?
Just yeah, for a new event, scroll the Immortal Beasts.
Gotcha.
Looks like there's an emote, like an Ultron emote that goes with it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, claim your free Ultron costume. That's then the next video starts in 5 seconds. So that's I think that's the big draw.
Then for competitive, there's going to be a rank reset. It's going to be based on your season 3.5 rank. You're going to be demoted 7 divisions. So if you were Diamond 1, you're going to drop down to Gold 2. And then, yeah, Seth, I don't know if you watched the entire dev video from last week, but they did mention that they also have plans for the future of adding placement matches into the game. So that's not going to be here in this competitive season, but they are aware of the community's desire to see those being added, and I look forward to that because the whole like dropping back seven ranks every 2 months is a little too much for me. I'd much rather have placement matches.
Yeah, same here.
Let's see then. Some new arcade mode stuff coming, and I don't spend a ton of time in arcade mode, but that might change because they're adding some new things here. Um, so we'll come to back to the new mode here in just a second, but they're adding free fight. So it's based on quick match. So you're going to have all your normal stuff, but there's not going to be any restrictions on duplicate heroes. Each team can ban 2 heroes, but everything else is wide open. So you can just have, 6 Penny Parkers on the field if you wanted to. And then Clone Rumble is going to be returning. So the mode that we had months ago, where each team would choose a character, and those were the 2 characters that both teams could choose from. Then Giant Size Brain Blast is another returning mode, special event mode. Then they're keeping Conquest. They're keeping Doom Match, and then they're adding a new Conquest, where it's basically going to be a death match on Tokyo 99 Nino Maru, where you score a point per enemy defeated, and first to 50 points wins. Seth, what are your thoughts on the new arcade modes?
I mean, I'll give anything a try. Historically, I haven't been the biggest fan of a lot of them. Like they're nice to kind of have and dabble in, but there's a reason I keep going back to like the tried and true. But again, I'll try it. You never know. And I think there's always an opportunity that stuff like this can be kind of try it out in the arcade space, and then it could become something more competitive later, or something that kind of sticks around on a little in maybe another way, but on a more permanent basis.
Yeah, I think a deathmatch is an interesting idea for a hero shooter, especially if it's like team based deathmatch. Like, how do you build a team comp that's less around like objective control and map like taking space and things like that, and more around securing eliminations. Um, so I don't know. Out of all of the arcade modes that they've added, this is one where I'm kind of like, I want to check it out just to see after a couple weeks how people have kind of figured out how they want to play it. Not that I think people are going to take it so seriously. They're like looking for different compositions or whatever, but I do feel like a game mode that's just tied to kills and eliminations is like really just a very different approach to this kind of a game, and not what the characters are designed to necessarily do. They're all kind of designed with the main game in mind.
Mhm.
And then Marvel GG, Marvel Rivals.gg also noted a leak from XOX leak, which is that there's some evidence of another arcade mode coming at some point. It's work in progress called Infinity Crisis on a map called Maveth, and it's pointing towards it being a possible capture the flag mode. Seth, for you, I I was never like really into capture the flag with like Halo and stuff like that, because I think it can just get a little stale. But does this excite you at all?
Again, I'll try it. I capture the flag. I was never my game. Like when we were playing Halo 3 back at launch, Halo 2, Halo 3, that kind of thing. It grew on me more, I think, as I came to like appreciate the complexity of the game, especially like if you've got a team that's working together in that effort. I never, still am not a big fan of capture the flag, like playing with randos, because it's just if you're not coordinated, it's kind of just a crapshoot. But this could be cool, especially if it's me, you, if Larry Hunt ever decides to play with us again somewhere, some way, or whatever. Maybe some of the kids from school or whatever. But yeah, I'm definitely willing to try it. I'll be in there in some capacity at least to give it a shot.
Also, a cool change to the arcade stuff is that rather than like picking one arcade mode to have to queue for, you can actually pick any number from one to all six of them, and it'll drop you into a queue and randomly put you in one of those arcade modes. So you don't have to, decide which one you want to play. So that seems pretty cool. And you can gain hero proficiency in arcade, but it has daily caps. So you won't be able to abuse that. Then, Seth, before we get to the patch notes, I just want to run through, or the balance changes. I do want to run through a couple of these new systems that they've added into the game. They're doing an wheel rework, okay, but they're also adding costume rotation into the game. And we've talked about this a lot, where it would be nice to be able to randomize your unlocked skins, and it looks like it's being added.
They finally listened. So this was the thing I think that I was most excited for when I heard the news. Like I was reading through some of those patch notes, some of those like the upcoming changes. I'm so ready. I hate having to think about like having to choose between my skins. I'm not much of a chooser. That's like my one of my biggest weaknesses in life, I think, is that I hate choosing things. I want it all. And this kind of gives me that in this game. Like I've paid for skins, I've paid for battle passes that get me skins. I've grinded to try to get skins. Maybe not too hard in this game because they come pretty freely as long as you just play it. But anyway, I'm just down. I'm ready. Like I kind of like the idea of not knowing what that skin's gonna be, just getting to appreciate looking at something new and different and not having to think and choose what do I want? What's my favorite thing to wear today? If someone would dress me in the real world every day, like that would be cool.
Dude, I've literally just started buying the same like shirt and pants in different
Hmm.
colors. It's been
Hmm.
awesome. Like I just wake up and put the same thing on.
I think
uh
that's a phase of life now is like, like I've got the same 2 pairs of the same jeans from Old Navy. I shop mostly at Old Navy now. Same couple of the same polos, couple of Carhartt t-shirts with the pocket on there that everybody wears now here in Virginia and, nearby places. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's a vibe. It feels good. You know what you like, and why not just have a bunch of stuff so you can match it to whatever you want.
mhm. I like this too. You can select the skins that are in your rotation for different characters. I think it also is a smart move uh, for rivals to do because it incentivizes people to continue to unlock and purchase skins for their characters because you're not having to retire old skins. You're just adding them into your rotation. Because it was like the symbiote thing skin came out what like 2 3 weeks after the thong skin came out, and I'm like, I like both these skins. I'm not quite ready to move on from Thong to play with Symbiote, but now I don't have to choose. I can throw them all into a pool and they'll get randomly selected for
The
me.
game can choose for me, yeah, yeah, I'm ready. That's, like, the exact problem I have, like, I think that's part of why I stopped playing Thing as much because I was paralyzed by choice.
uh, Custom ability VFX visibility is now going to be able to be toggleable. So this was a change that they made a few months ago when they added like the Scarlet Witch, like ultimate visual effects or whatever, and it was just client side. So only the player that had it selected would be able to see it. Now you're going to be able to choose if you want to see other people's equipped visibility stuff. I think this is something I'm going to turn off personally because I like the game to have some visual clarity and that sort of thing. I've talked about how like I I turn off the like custom sounds for different skins and things like that as well. So I'll probably turn this off. But Seth, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, again, I might honestly, I'll probably forget about it unless it kind of causes a problem. I'll turn it off if it's a distraction for me. But it's not typically something I think about. A lot of the time in my house, I can't really hear exactly what's going on anyway, unless I've got my headphones on. So I'm kind of just winging it on the moment to moment, or trying to see the subtitles from afar. My air conditioning is really loud, so like it kind of detracts from a lot of my moment to moment gameplay sometimes, especially in the summer.
Yeah. We'll go through the rest of these pretty quick, but friend suggestions based on your battle performance and preferred heroes. The game is going to suggest suitable friends to help you connect with more players and team up with compatible allies in game. I'll never use that. Uh, I have one friend I play with, and he does this podcast with me.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
then Larry occasionally will join us. They're adding slow walk to PC. It was great to see the creator of the game, the director of the game, say aura farming in the dev video that he put out. So they're adding slow walking to PC. Squad voice chat's coming. You're going to be able to download high res versions of the gallery cards, and then some other changes as well. And then a bunch of other stuff coming. One other thing before we get to the balance changes, Seth. They also announced that on September 12th, the game is going to be coming to PlayStation 4. I found that very interesting.
It's pretty cool. I mean, I'm not against it. I think it's if nothing else, it expands the player base. I just like I have trouble imagining a PS4 running Strange Portals.
Yeah, that's what
Um,
I'm thinking about too. It's like if two strangers portal at the same time, does it just ask you to purchase a new PlayStation 4?
right, but I mean, I've got to have trust in them. I don't think they do it for this game, like something as competitive as this, without having tested it extensively. So I mean, it's not something that just kind of happens. It has to have been in the works for a while. So I'm down. I'm cool. I know, like my only deterrent, kind of living in like the kind of rural community where I live, is like when I tell kids about it, or like I'm trying to recruit for an esports team or something. Some of them don't. know anything about the game because they've got like an Xbox One or whatever.
Mhm.
They can't use it. If they've played Overwatch, they like that, but they're like, this sounds cool, just can't get it. And so, yeah, I think this kind of does a lot to open it up a little bit more.
Yeah, I work on as you guys know, I work on an indie football game, and we have a pretty big community. But when we first announced the game back in 2021, we mentioned that the game was coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And still to this day, one of the number one comments that we get when we post is like, when is the game coming to PS4? When's it coming to Xbox One? And I find that crazy to me because we're what, like 5 years into this console cycle, right? And people are still playing on the past gen stuff. Do you still have a PlayStation 4?
Not personally. I think I traded mine to get like an extra DualSense controller or something, but it didn't go far for me. But we've got one at the school that we bought. Kind of like we just timed it poorly. It was right around the time that Play Versus, our esports league runners started switching from from last gen to current gen. So we kind of screwed ourselves, but I think we got it for pretty cheap. So it is what it is. It's kind of just sitting there in a lockable cabinet at the school right now. I can get to it if I need it.
If you think about it, and after the 12th at some point, want to download Rivals on PlayStation 4 and try it? I'm very curious about this because
I
I'm with
may.
you. Like I I'm very interested in how they're going to get this thing to run, given that they've had such a hell of a time getting this thing to run well on like Nvidia, like modern Nvidia cards and stuff like that. I'm with you that I don't think they're going to put out like a turd because the game has done so well. But yeah, if you think about it when it comes out and you can get your hands on it, I would be curious to see what you think about it if you played a game or two of it.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's move on to the balance patch notes here, and we've got some relatively big changes. I think they did a pretty decent job of having kind of everybody, not everybody, but having a lot of characters included here. So for Vanguards, our nerfs are going to be coming to Emma and Captain America. Penny and Thor are getting some buffs, and then Doctor Strange is getting some adjustments. So some nerfs to some stuff and buffs to other stuff. I've lost my cursor. Hold on. I think I just need to reconnect. There it is. um, so ones that I think will be relevant to us and that we can talk about. The team up anchor for the 5% bonus damage. It's not even that big of a nerf for Captain America, just a real slight downgrade. I don't know. What do you think about the Penny Parker stuff with like the changes to her ult and things like that? It seems like they're trying to make her a little bit more viable.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been running into her a lot lately, and like that. I mean, if it's played right, that Rocket team up is pretty crucial. So I could definitely see a need for her to get rebalanced in a few ways to kind of compensate for that.
Yeah, her spider drones are now going to slow enemies by 8% for 2 seconds and can stack up to 40% on her ult. So giving her, I think, a little bit. I think because I think if you talk to people about what the biggest issues with Penny are, that there's two, right? Number one is like as far as tanks go, she doesn't have a lot of ability to mitigate damage. She's more about like space denial. But the second thing is that her ult is just kind of useless. And I
Mhm.
think I like what Rivals does when they kind of see a useless ult and say, how can we give it some utility to kind of enhance the players around it? And so, like if we add this slow ability, this ultimate can now be followed up on by other members of the team. Whereas previously, you just kind of used the penny ult to be annoying for a few seconds and then probably just died in the middle of it,
Mhm.
you know. And then Thor is getting some upgrades to his movement speed during his ultimate ability. And then after his ultimate ability lands, you're going to stun surrounding enemies for 1 second. So some more CC making its way into the game. Seth, anything a note here you want to bring up about some of these Vanguard changes?
No, it's always interesting to kind of see how it changes things. Those subtle, small changes that you might not think would make a big difference sometimes do. So, it's one of the I never really feel like I know until I see it and kind of feel it in play. But we'll see.
Uh, all right. Well, let's go to our duelist here then. So we got nerfs coming for Black Panther and Psylocke, and then buffs coming for Blade, Magic, Moon Knight, Scarlet Witch, and Bucky. And so there's a couple of these that I wanted to drill down on. The first being Magic. Magic is getting a lot of different stuff in her kit. So the team up anchor of the 15% bonus damage boost is eliminated because she's going to get a new ability as a part of a team up that she's going to be in with Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch. But reducing charge time for Magic Slash, some increase to damage of different abilities and things like that. But Magic Slash's new effect is now a projectile that can pierce through enemies and reduces stepping discs cooldown by 1 second per enemy pierce. So kind of a, I don't want to say like a rework, but it feels like with Thing, they were kind of testing the waters of like, what if we added some new mechanics to characters that we have rather than like these full blown reworks that we saw with like Jeff and stuff like that. I like this approach where it's like, hey, we're going to kind of focus in on one character and try to make them more viable in certain circumstances that the game continuously presents.
I like it too. I like that it's slow too. It's not like constantly changing, the whole game, multiple characters at a time. But I think that of anybody that Black Widow is who needs this. It wasn't necessarily Magic, but Magic, great, good for her. Um, Maybe Black Widow needs some love.
Mhm. Yeah, Black Widow's not in this patch note. I think that's I have to imagine they're working on some kind of a rework for her and just trying to really lock it in before they roll it out or something like that. I don't know. One person I didn't mention here is that Squirrel Girl is also getting a nerf. So reduce burst acorn damage from 110 to 100, increase the hit damage of Squirrel Blockade from 35 to 50, and increase Mammal Bond cooldown from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. So her CC is going to get a little bit of a nerf there as well. Scarlet Witch, I think, has some interesting stuff too in hers. During her ultimate, she can be healed now, so giving her a little bit more survivability there. And then her ultimate gets two things. First of all, increases the reality erasure damage from 8,000 to 9,999. So nothing can. It's kind of like Diva Mech, right? Nothing can survive being within the path of the Scarlet Witch ult, and then it pulls in nearby enemies within a 15-meter radius during cast charge with a max pull speed of up to 2.4 meters per second. So they're really trying to get this Scarlet Witch ult to work, and I feel like this might be the final bump they need to really make Scarlet Witch feel good across different levels, because that's really her
Yeah,
biggest thing, right? Like
yeah,
she
I
just
think so.
dies when she ults.
Yeah, you got to time it just right. Either that or do like the strange portal trick, something like that.
Yeah, well, and it's kind of twofold, right? With the problem with her ult, she dies when she's casting it, but it's also just so easy to avoid, right? Like all you
Mhm.
have to do is break line of sight. So having this pool, I think, as annoying as I feel like it's going to be to have to deal with, I do think it's a cool change.
Yeah,
And our strategist nerfs are for Loki and Luna. And the Luna one is funny because it says the ultimate ability duration is getting cooled down. See, we do nerf her. So her ult is going to last for 10 seconds rather than 12 seconds. Then Loki's getting a couple other nerfs. Didn't he get some nerfs already in that like one-off balance update a couple weeks ago?
I thought so.
So yeah, just some more there. Invisible Woman, Jeff, Mantis, and Ultron are the ones that are getting buffs. Um, so yeah, she's a couple things here. Sorry, I've been talking a lot, Seth. You go ahead. Is there anyone here that jumps out to you?
Uh, I'm excited about this Jeff change. Like the idea, like our biggest complaint before about Jeff is he's gotten better and better. I think some people argue differently. Don't know why, but he's kind of just increasingly changed. Kind of like the whole way that he's played, and this I think kind of mitigates his one big detractor now is that like whenever he ults, he gets taken out of the fight because he's got to go spit the bad guys out somewhere and potentially risk like killing himself too in the process and having to respawn. So it makes it even longer. But now he's going to leave that kind of healing wave behind, or that kind of pool that spans the width of his ult or whatever the radius or the circumference, whatever the math term is.
Radius, yeah.
Radius, all right, groovy. But yeah, so I'm down. That's going to be great, and again, I think that's something to make him more viable in a meta in which he's already pretty viable.
Yeah, yeah. See a lot of Jeffs, and you're right. That is the biggest issue with him. So I'm excited for this change too. Invisible Woman's changes I think are kind of interesting as well. So increasing the slow effect to the enemies that pass through Guardian Shield. But then increased invisible boundary, her ult healing per second from 165 to 180. Has there been? I don't know. I've never felt like, man, I'm not getting healed enough by this Invisible Woman ult. So I'm not sure exactly what that change is for necessarily. And then a new effect, it slows enemies within range by 20%. So it used to be, I think, that if you pass through the boundaries of her ult, that you would be slowed. Now it seems like if you were within the ult itself, you were going to be slowed.
Hmm.
So that's also a form of soft CC is slow. So
That makes sense.
uh, very interesting. But yeah, I think it is interesting that there are some people here who aren't named. I think you mentioned one being Black Widow not getting any changes here, right? Like Spider-Man's not on here, and I feel like he gets tweaked almost every single time.
I guess it's his time now. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, then we've got some new team ups. We already talked about like the Angela Thor stuff. The dimensional shortcut with Magic and Psylocke is getting removed. Black Panther's getting added to Gamma Charge. He's going to get Gamma Vibranium armor in his team up. And then Magic is joining the Arcane Order with Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch. And then, Scarlet Witch is getting a little bit of a nerf for her team up with Doctor Strange. So Seth, we've talked a little bit, and I know we're kind of running up on time here, but we've talked a little bit about the size of the balance patches and how I think the season 3.5 one felt a little small. I think even the season 3 one felt a little bit small. How do you feel about the number of changes and the number of characters touched in this update?
I mean, I think this is more like it. I think the game did suffer from kind of a little bit of stagnation in season three, just kind of across the board between not only between like the cosmetics and the map content and stuff like that we've gotten, but just like the feel of the game in general. So it's time for a shakeup. I think this seems like they're going for just that. So I can't wait to see what they're doing.
Yeah, I think the introduction of just Angela and Thor, the Angela with the Thor team up and stuff, I think is going to shake up a lot as well. I think having a flying tank, I think, is going to make flyers a little bit less viable, right? Because so many, your Iron Mans, your Human Torches, like they get a lot of value from tanks being on the ground and having like groups of people on the ground to get splash damage and kind of charge their stuff up a lot quicker. I think the more people you take off the ground, the harder it's going to be to play flyer. So I'm really interested. But I think also with that, it's going to be harder to play things like BP and some of the grounded divers and things like that. So very interested to see how the meta shakes out. I think things still going to be really viable because you're going to be able to hop to Angela in the sky and knock her out and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see. I feel pretty good about the size of this patch as well. Seth, across the entire season 4 update outside of Angela, what's probably the one thing you're most excited about for the update at the end of this week?
If I had to pick anything other than you said other than Angela,
Yeah, because
other
Angela's
yeah,
the
she's the
the
main
right answer.
attraction. Where I mean, I don't know. I guess it'd have to be. I think the skin change
Mm,
for me, like the randomized skin selection. I think that's my biggest source of excitement right now. But I'm also excited about the Jeff changes too. As a Jeff player, as a Lord Jeff, I'm here for a lot of that stuff. So I'm just kind of in general more excited this season than I think I even was at the start of season 3 when I was still pretty optimistic.
Yeah. No new map to kick off season 4 either. The new map is going to come on September 25th. It's a convergence map. It's called Heart of Heaven. Uh, so we'll talk more about that when we get to it. But um, yeah, I'm excited for the skin stuff as well because I've unlocked a lot in this game, more so than I have in probably any other uh, game I've ever played. So I'm excited for that, and yeah, you took the Jeff one too, which is probably the other one because I don't play Jeff, but I get frustrated a lot playing with Jeffs because I feel like they don't take into consideration when they ult that like you try to swallow everybody or else you're leaving people out to dry, especially as a tank main at this point. So that'll be a welcome change there, and plus they're nerfing a lot of BP stuff, so that feels
Hmm.
good too.
That is a good change. Yeah, it's time.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us today, guys. Let us know what you're most excited about for season 4, and we'll have a full breakdown of our reactions to it in next week's episode as well. But wherever you're listening to us, make sure you like, follow, share, and subscribe. And until next week, good luck in your games. Actually, I'm not going to ask you what you're getting up to this week in game, Seth. We're just going to be trying our damnedest to play Angela, right? So,
That's the goal.
all right. Well, good luck in you guys' games. Don't pick Angela if you see me and Seth in queue because we're trying to get her too. Maybe we just go play the no limits mode. We can all be Angela. Maybe
Just
that's the
Angela
strat.
for days. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, good luck in your games. We'll see you next week. Love you. Bye.